You're 30 years old. You wake up, go to work, come home, scroll your phone, go to sleep. And somewhere in the back of your mind, there's this quiet, uncomfortable thought. What would happen if I lost this job tomorrow? Not what would I do next week, not how would I pay rent. The real question, what would I actually offer anyone? Because here's the thing most people won't say out loud. A lot of people at 30 don't have a skill. They have a job. And those are two very different things. Let's be honest about what the situation actually looks like. You're making maybe $40,000 to $60,000 a year. Standard salary, standard job. You show up, do what's asked, collect a paycheck. And on paper, it looks fine. Rent gets paid, subscriptions get paid, occasional vacation, coffee every morning. Life looks like it's working. But here's what's actually happening underneath. You're not building anything, you're maintaining. There's a difference between income and leverage. Income is what someone pays you to show up. Leverage is what you can demand because of what you know. At 30, with no real skill, you have income but zero leverage. And you feel it, even if you can't name it. You feel it when your company announces layoffs and your stomach drops. You feel it when a younger colleague gets promoted. You feel it when someone your age starts talking about their freelance clients, their online business, the consulting they're doing on the side, and you have nothing to add. That feeling has a name. It's called skill gap anxiety. And most people don't fix it. They just distract themselves from it. Let me show you two people. Same age, same starting point. Both 28, both earning around $42,000 a year, both renting an apartment, both working a standard office job. Call them Marcus and Daniel. Marcus is comfortable. He's good at his job. His manager likes him. He doesn't think much about what comes next because things seem stable. After work, he watches TV, hangs out with friends, plays games, scrolls social media. He tells himself he'll figure it out eventually. Daniel is also comfortable. Same job, same salary, but Daniel is slightly uncomfortable with being comfortable. He noticed something. The people making real money in his office weren't just working harder. They knew something specific. They had a skill that was hard to replace. So Daniel starts spending 40 minutes a day learning something. Data analytics. Nothing glamorous, just a course, then practice, then more practice. He tells no one. He's not posting about it, he just does it. Here's where it gets interesting. At age 30, Marcus is actually ahead. He got a small raise, he's relaxed, he's enjoying his weekends. His life looks better on the outside. Daniel is still grinding through tutorials at 10 p.m., still making $42,000, still in the same apartment. Nothing has changed, visibly. And if you saw both of them at this moment, you'd probably think Marcus has figured it out. Marcus gets a new manager who doesn't like him. Suddenly, the stable job feels a lot less stable. He looks for other options. But here's the problem. His resume looks exactly the same as it did 4 years ago. Same job title, same skills, same salary range. He applies to a few places, gets some interviews, gets turned down for someone with a more specific, demonstrable skill set. He settles for a lateral move. Same pay, new office, same feeling. Daniel, at 32, quietly lands a new role. Not a big company, but the title says data analyst. The salary says $68,000. That's a $26,000 jump in 2 years. Not because Daniel got lucky, because Daniel made himself hard to replace. But wait, let's not make this a fairy tale. Daniel's path wasn't clean. There were months where he felt like he was wasting his time. He doubted himself. He almost quit the course 3 times. There was a Tuesday night where he sat there staring at his laptop thinking, why am I doing this? I'm tired. I worked all day. This probably won't even matter. That moment, that exact Tuesday night, is where most people stop. Marcus stopped there. He just never started. Age 35. Marcus is making $52,000. Took 5 years to get a $10,000 raise. He's not miserable, but he's also not building anything. He's one restructuring away from starting over with nothing new to offer. Daniel is making $95,000. He's been offered a senior role. He has 3 former colleagues who want to hire him for freelance projects. He has options. Not freedom, options. And options, real financial options, are what money is actually about. Not the money itself, the choice that money gives you. Here's a question worth sitting with. What's the difference between Marcus at 35 and Marcus at 28? Almost nothing. Same knowledge, same leverage. 7 years older, slightly more tired, and a little more scared to try something new because now the stakes feel higher. That's what staying still actually costs you. Not one dramatic failure, just 7 years of quiet sameness. So why does this happen? Why do smart people, people who are not lazy, not stupid, end up at 35 wondering where the time went? 4 reasons. First, comfort disguised as stability. There's a version of fine that feels like safety. You're not struggling, bills get paid, so your brain registers the situation as no problem here. But stability and growth are not the same thing. You can be completely stable and completely stuck at the same time. Second, fear of being a beginner. At 28, learning something new feels manageable. At 32, it feels embarrassing. At 35, it feels almost humiliating, because now you have seniority at work, a certain identity, a reputation, and sitting down to be a beginner threatens all of that. So instead of feeling stupid for a few months, people choose to stay comfortable for the next decade. That's not laziness, that's ego protecting itself, and it costs everything. Third, distraction is too easy. We live in a world specifically engineered to consume your spare time, not maliciously, just profitably. Every app, every platform, every streaming service is competing for the 40 minutes you could be using to build something. You don't even realize you're choosing entertainment over growth. It just feels like relaxing. But compound that over 5 years of evenings mostly spent consuming instead of building, and you feel the gap. Fourth, procrastination dressed as planning. I'll start when things calm down. I'll do it after this project. I'm still figuring out which skill to learn. This isn't strategy, it's delay with a costume on. The thinking never turns into starting, and starting is the only thing that actually matters. Here's the uncomfortable part. Most people reading this know all of that already. You've heard about building skills. You've bookmarked the courses. You've watched the YouTube videos about productivity and growth. You might even have started something once. So the problem isn't information. The problem is that somewhere deep down, you still believe it will work out. Not because you have a plan, just because it always has before. And that belief, that quiet assumption that the future will sort itself out, is the most expensive thing you own. Because the job market is not getting more forgiving. Automation is not slowing down. The companies laying people off are not losing sleep over it. And at 30, you still have time, genuinely, but it's not unlimited time. It's specific time, and it's moving. The question isn't, should I build a skill? The question is, how much longer are you going to wait before it stops being a choice? Let's be direct about how this plays out. Path 1, no change. You stay in the job, maybe get a few small raises. Life stays manageable, but always feels slightly tight. You start making lifestyle concessions. Not dramatic ones, just subtle ones. You don't take the trip. You don't leave the job you hate because you can't afford the gap. You stay with the company you don't respect because the health insurance is good. Every decision is made from scarcity, not from choice. At 40, you look around and realize the gap between you and people who built skills is now very wide. Wide enough that catching up feels genuinely hard. Not impossible, but hard. And the worst part, you're not broke. You're just not free. Path 2, you start. You pick one skill, one that the market actually pays for. Right now, the ones with consistent growing demand: data analysis, writing, video editing, coding, sales, digital marketing, UX design. Not glamorous, but real. Don't pick based on what sounds impressive. Pick based on what you can actually sustain learning for 12 months. Then, 30 to 45 minutes a day. That's it. Not a second life, not quitting your job tomorrow. Just 30 minutes. In 90 days, you'll have the basics. In 6 months, you'll have a small portfolio. In 12 months, you'll have something tangible to put in front of someone. No course is perfect, no skill is guaranteed, but the person who started 12 months ago, however imperfect their journey, is in a completely different position than the person who spent 12 months thinking about starting. One thing, consistent, long-term. That's the whole strategy. People spend years waiting for the right moment to start building skills, and then one day they realize the right moment was 3 years ago. Not 5 years ago, not 10,
Just 3 when it still felt too early, too uncertain, too soon. You're 30. 3 years from now, you'll either be someone with options or someone who remembers the day they read something like this and didn't do anything about it. Both futures are being built right now. The question is just which one you're building.